Now that I have that addition, let's go back and just see where that was placed. So I added that. If you didn't watch the other little tape, short revision there, I added that face, or I'm sorry, this edge right here. And you notice what the software did is just added it to the existing map. So it's automatically mapped. It knows where the other members of the of that are, and it maps it. So one thing I see right away is this was one of the ones, if you remember, one of the transverse processes that was giving me a hard time. No matter what I did, I couldn't get it to unwrap cleanly. I think that's right. Yeah, there you go. So if I pick the UV shell, you can see it's that right transverse process. But you can see the problem right now is this can't be. This is never going to get into Mudbox with that overlapping. So what I'm going to try is say modify unfold. And that worked. And then let's see if I can put the edges back. See how the two edges are next to one another. So that's not going to distort anything. And for some reason, these were the edges I couldn't seem to get to go back in 3D Coat. So I'm just going to merge and sew them here. So I hit the letter G and do it again and again and again. So either I was missing something or 3D Coat was just giving me a hard time for no good reason. Could be a combination of both. So when I see something like this, in other words, a V, if you will, that's an easy one to put back together. So it just meant I cut it more than I needed to in 3D Coat. Really no reason to do this, but it just somehow makes me feel more comfortable. I'm going to go under Image and Dim and take. Okay, I have to keep the image on if I want to see the darkness. Go to right mouse, UV shell. So what I want to put together next is the now you may notice I changed the color for the background of the UV editor. I found that if I hold the Alt B or Option B rather on a Mac, Alt B on a Windows, you can continue to move through a series of colors. You find the one that's easiest to see, and I think this is probably the easiest for us to see right now. So this UV shell that's selected now matches the body of the vertebra, at least its lateral and anterior surface. I know this shell is the bottom because it's not lit, so it's got to be the bottom. So what I'd like to do is actually attach that now onto the body so I can hide a seam in the canal is the way I'm thinking about this. I can get in here and hide a seam in here, but I don't want a seam on the outside. So let's see. So that would be, this would be the canal side of that body. So let's go to the edge. That would be the front, let's say. And let's use modify, I'm sorry, cut and sew, move and sew. Alright, so now I'm there. Now I've got more edges available here, like we said, in a V. But I'm not sure how many more I can use without getting, see, I'm starting to get a little distorted there. And if I do it go one more time. So before I panic about that, I'm going to take the other side, meaning the superior surface, and I'm going to move and sew it and then do the same thing. Now that looks odd to me. So I'm going to select the UV shell and then say optimize. And I'm going to hit the letter G a couple times. So now the software has looked at what it sees as the best mathematical model to looking at that. I'm trying to see what these edges are. Oh, right there. Let's put those together too. And re-optimize that. I think I have to pick the shell first. Okay, so now I've got that. I'm going to have a seam along these edges. But I might screw around with something else too. Let's see. Okay. You know, I have a seam right now. You can see the white line. So let's see what happens with this. So if I take this over here, where is that going to go now? Actually, let's go along the seam. So I'm again coming along this seam. It's kind of hard because I got that thing in the way. There you go. There's the seam I'm looking for. So let's see what happens. Let's try that on the other side. So we'll go down the seam. Now, see, that's a problem, because I'm really going to distort if I try to pull this side all the way over to here. Okay? But it would be nice, be better for us, or for me, since this is my model, if I could hide the seam on the inside here somewhere, like right along here, instead of on the outside. So this is what I'm going to try. In the UV editor, I'm going to pick this edge. And I'm going to come up to move it. This time I'm going to say just cut. Now if I pick the UV shell and the W key to move, now I've taken that piece off. So now if I move this to the other side and I grab the edge that I was trying to hide, you can see if I now say move and sew, I'm not so bad off. Okay. So I've moved that edge at least inside here so that this corner and this corner are no longer going to show a negative edge. But down here is basically where that inside piece would also fit. So I really can't move it again, otherwise I'm going to really distort it. So again, like I said, we're not going to see the bottom too much. I'd like to see if I could get rid of this seam here, these pieces. Bring this up a little bit. So where am I here? Okay, so that edge, right? This edge. That's to the front. That goes there and there. We'll try to optimize that so we don't distort it. And I think this is the piece on the other side. Rather the outside there. So I'm going for these two edges because that's, again, this is an outside edge. It would be less likely to give me a problem, or at least hide something. So then I'll move and sew it. Ooh, I didn't realize I had that whole piece. Okay, well, kind of created a little issue there. Let's see if I can unfold this. And optimize it as well. Where am I attached? Oh, over there, okay. Okay, what other edges would be good to get rid of? This one looks like it's going to cause us some pain if I can eliminate that. Is there any way I can get this connected? There's that. Where is the piece that connects to? I'm not seeing the other piece. What's this little guy? Where's that going? Okay, and that's the tip here. So I think these two things we should be able to put back together. This one still looks a little odd though, right here. Let's see if we can get it to optimize better. Let's see if we can unfold it anymore. So I'm just hitting the G key over and over again. You see, this is where you run into a problem where this is probably not going to work for us. Obviously, I can't have that overlap. So what I may do is do what we did before. Select these two edges and just cut them. Take the UV shell and move it out. So that's the hole for that. That's the piece on top. Where does the piece on top go? Maybe that's a better piece to try to look to put together. Maybe we can find a place for that. Okay, so that goes there. Let's do that. Okay, that got rid of that. I don't think we can do this because I think it's going to distort us too much here. Let's try it. So it seemed to be okay. Okay, so let's find the one on the other side.